gonna drink my coffee while I talk to you guys. Okay, so today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite topic, and that is gear. So a lot of the questions that I constantly get are, what did you shoot that on? What type of gear did you have? What was your gimbal? What lenses? What were the settings? So, what's up, buddy? In the middle of a video. Hi. Say hi to everybody. Okay. So, like I was saying, one of everyone's favorite topics is talking about camera gear. Let's be honest, we all do it. You see an awesome video from an incredibly talented creator, and your first thought is, man, what camera did he shoot on? What gear did he have that I don't have? How can I create stuff at the same level as this creator? So let's go over a few of the things that I have in my camera bag right now in 2022. So the first thing that I want to talk about today are the gimbals that I use. So for my main cinema camera that I'm actually filming this video on currently, I'm going to be talking about that as well in a second. I use the DJI Ronin RS2. This is by far and away my favorite gimbal that I have ever used. I've used a lot from June, some older DJI gimbals, a few from a number of different companies. I've really tried them all. This is by far and away the best one, and that's for a number of reasons. Incredibly lightweight, the arms are made of carbon fiber. It gives you the option to connect to your phone with the Raven Eye, which you see under right here. And it really just gives you a lot of functionality in a relatively small and compact pack. You know, specifically shooting with Blackmagic cameras, I do not have the benefit of having autofocus, but if you can see right here, there is a motorized focus wheel that can be controlled right here at the bottom with this wheel as well. So it just makes it really easy when I'm sort of tracking subjects. I can pull my focus as I'm following them without having to worry about having a focus wheel up at the top or follow focus, any of that stuff. Really nice gimbal, works really well for my setup when I'm looking to create travel videos that are not going to require me to be up in the mountains, you know, where I'm really just going to do handheld run and gun style. Still heavy enough, still takes enough space where this is really not something I'm going to want to be doing when I'm skiing or doing stuff like that. But this is definitely one of my go-to tools for a lot of my cinematic work. Now, this is something that's really compact and lightweight. It is actually one of my favorite pieces of gear that I've bought in this past year. You know, for those of you who have been following my videos for a while now, you might have noticed that recently I've been doing a lot of iPhone related content. I've been really impressed by the 13 Pro Max and sort of the ability to have this piece of gear that fits in your pocket and makes it so accessible to so many different types of creators to make really high quality content. So this is something that I bring with me out in the city all of the time. It's sort of sleek, easy to use. You know, I can slap my phone on there, you know, create hyperlapses, time lapses, just get really smooth, you know, cinematic type of content out in the city. And, you know, it's really easy to just throw in a backpack or a sling and pop out and grab content that you otherwise really wouldn't necessarily always be able to get. And that, I guess, kind of ties me into that piece of gear that is really something I've been using probably the most over the course of the past couple months, and this is the 13 Pro Max. You know, like I was saying, just having something that fits in your pocket and something that's going to be with you and on you at all times, you know, that you can pop out and create great high quality content with. You know, there have been so many times in the past where I've been in a situation or in an experience where I really wish that I had my camera with me and I missed the moment. But being able to have my phone on me at all times and just kind of pop this out, slap on a filter. You know, I have the Polar Pro Light Chaser Pro 13 case on here. It comes with a number of different filters and sort of a sweet hand grip as well if you want to kind of turn this into more of like a DSLR type filmmaking tool. But just being able to have that on me at all times, you know, and kind of breaking that barrier of accessibility for, you know, amateur filmmakers. This has been the coolest piece of gear that I've purchased in 2022 by far. Going back to sort of more of my cinema lens, my cinema camera setup, this is actually my favorite new set of lenses. It is the Mica Cinelens, the 50mm. I actually have a number of different focal lengths coming in the mail in the next couple of weeks. I'm really excited about the 25mm that they just released. It's an S35 EF mount, so it works compatible with my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K, and I just really love the image that this lens puts out. It's very smooth, buttery. The bokeh is beautiful. The colors are beautiful. The way you can sort of pull focus, it's all very seamless. So this is something where if I'm in a situation where I'm comfortable with the extra weight and I'm gonna be more in control sort of over my setup and over the, you know, lighting and more in control over sort of the other elements around me in my shoot, I always make sure to bring this lens. Now, I mentioned earlier, and I'll throw it up here again, the 10-day shoot that I did in Jackson Hole. You know, I'm really proud of that travel video, and that was shot almost exclusively on this Canon 24-105. Now, a lot of people are not really fans of these lenses because you know, they're more photographic lenses, so they kind of give a bit more of that sharp image that isn't something you really love for cinema. But, you know, I've found that when I'm out in the mountains and out in really unpredictable situations, it's really worth all of the benefits for that one drawback. Just being able to, you know, have that wide variety of focal range. You know, if I'm trying to capture things that are far away, I just have that sort of ability to, you just have that flexibility, which is awesome. And one of the biggest things is this lens has image stabilization on it. And so when you're shooting handheld in sort of these, like I mentioned, unpredictable situations out in the mountains, out when you're hiking in snow and rain and cold, just having a little bit of extra assistance to help you get those smooth shots that are easier to work with in post is really great. So next, I want to talk about filters. You know, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Moment. They're an awesome company, really building and sort of stocking and housing products for the everyday filmmaker. And I'm a huge fan of what they've been doing with their line of filters. This is a variable ND. This actually lived on my Canon 24-105 the entire trip, just because I was shooting a lot of harsh daylight conditions, and just being able to have that range and flexibility. You know, I think at 64 to 512 ND range just really helped me, you know, be able to control my lighting and be able to still shoot wide open. So this is another huge favorite of mine. It won't be if I break it. And then this other filter lives on my Mica Cinema lens. This is the Cinebloom 10% diffusion filter. Just kind of helps give an extra sort of hazy, ethereal look to your shots. You know, when I'm using this lens, and depending on what I'm trying to shoot, I kind of like being able to have that extra look about my shots. So let's talk about my aerial setup. You know, this is something that I really never leave the house without. This is the Mavic 2 Pro. You know, this has been my workhorse for the past number of years now, probably going on 3 years. You know, I haven't been tempted enough to upgrade to the Mavic 3 just because I'm such a huge fan of this camera, and just the, you know, like I mentioned, you know, it's about purchasing what you can afford and then creating great content with it. You know, the time will come, obviously, when I want to upgrade to the Mavic 3, but for now, I am more than happy with the caliber of content that I can produce with this Mavic 2 Pro. Last but not least, I want to talk about this camera right here. And this was actually my first camera that I really started to create with, and this is the 5D Mark II. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of that camera. It's kind of iconic in the sense that it sort of revolutionized the sort of do-it-all DSLR with, you know, a photo camera that was capable of shooting high quality video. You know, I loaded Magic Lantern onto this, and I actually find myself still using it sometimes. You know, it's my, you know, 100% of the time photo camera. I still absolutely love the photos that come out of this. There's just the colors, you know, the image quality is still absolutely amazing. But just being able to have this as sort of like a B cam when I want to go and, you know, I'm snapping photos on a photo shoot, but I want to capture some video, it still holds up in a lot of ways. And it, you know, that really ties into, you know, sort of the notion that I was talking about, where it's really not about the gear that you have. It's about, you know, your skill set, your creativity, your ability as a storyteller, you know, so don't let the financial barrier keep you from going out there and creating. You know, purchase the gear that you can afford and focus on honing your skills and just get out there and make cool shit. So I'm going to talk about the main camera that I use. It's actually the one that's filming me right now, sitting on the tripod. It is the BMPCC 6K. I had that camera for about 2 years now. Then I also have the Samsung T5 SSD. Being able to record right to an SSD is amazing. Just having sort of the ability to capture massive file sizes without having to spend an arm and a leg. On some of the SD cards nowadays, it's great to just be able to shoot right to the SSD. Another thing I have is the Atomos Shinobi external monitor. You know, given that the BMPCC doesn't really have that articulating screen, that sort of functionality that you get with some of the Sonys and the newer Canons, just being able to have an external monitor that really helps when I'm in, you know, shooting at different angles and different lighting conditions. You know, the Blackmagic screen is great, but under certain light, it can be really hard to see. The Atomos Shinobi, I believe, is like 400, 500 nits brighter. So really crisp, clean, and very helpful, especially when I'm filming myself. I'm not someone who builds out, you know, huge rigs, given sort of the nature of my run and gun around the city, out in the outdoors, the wilderness type of work. I like to keep it relatively light and compact. So I have that cage, and it gives me the flexibility to attach a lot of those external pieces that I need. So that's pretty much it. You know, I'm really excited for 2022 and really kind of experimenting with the gear that I already have. You know, I'm not someone who has to go out and buy the newest things. There's a lot of pieces of gear that I'm very excited about, and I'm sure I will acquire in the future. But I'm really focused on just continuing to hone my craft, utilizing the, you know, abundance of gear that I already have, that I'm incredibly fortunate to already be in possession of, and, you know, keeping it relatively light and on the go and compact. You know, just being someone who's always out and about. You know, I like to make sure that all my gear can fit in a day pack and it's very easy and accessible. And I feel like I have a good sort of mix and setup of everything to be able to achieve that. You know, really excited for this year. I'm excited to kind of share with you guys all the pieces of gear that I have. I'll include links below for everything if you're curious and want to get, you know, pick up some of them yourself. But yeah, guys, just like I said, get the gear that you can afford and just get out there and create. You know, don't let you know, financial constraints dictate you as a creator and what you're able to make. So that's it for me this week. And hold on. Oh man, it's still so good. I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.